Hello, my name is Thomas Norton, and I work in the Educational Technology Department at BJU Press. Today I'm showing a tool called Padlet. Padlet is an online whiteboard tool that allows you to work and collaborate with your students and for your students to collaborate with each other. So once you get logged in, you'll be taken to the dashboard, and it looks like this. I have some Padlets I've created here, and we're going to go up here to the pink button on the top right and click Make a Padlet. There are a few different options of Padlets to make. The first three here are basically different ways of organizing posts that your students put up. The wall will pack posts all together, while a grid over here will spread the post out a little bit more. The stream will give you a view that looks something like a Facebook feed or like what Google Classroom does, where all of the posts are in a row and you scroll through them. As we get down here to the bottom four, there's a few more options. The shelf allows you as the teacher to create a topic, so several different categories, and then students post items underneath that topic. The map will actually give you a map of the world, and you and your students can, when you make a post, type in a place and then a little description or some other items there, and it will actually drop a pin onto the map for you and your students to see. The canvas will create a kind of a flow chart type idea, so you can connect um, posts together, kind of create a flow as you go through. And then finally, the timeline will give you a horizontal timeline that students can post items to. It's not quite as detailed as some other timeline tools, but for simple timelines, it does a really great job. So for our creation here, let's create a shelf, and I'll show you some of the options in Padlet that you can use. As we get in, we'll see that there are a couple of different options that we can use. So of course we can name our Padlet whatever we want. I'll leave the Padlet name they gave us. You can change the wallpaper as well. They have a bunch of different colors you can add in or their own pictures, and I believe you can actually add your own picture. Of course, you can do the theme and the font. Down here in the posting section, attribution will allow you to see um, which student posts which item. So as they log in, you'll be able to see who posted what. If you're doing an activity where students need to add an idea, if this is an exit ticket or whatever you're doing, you'll want to make sure you have that on there so your students can see it. You can also allow your students to comment on each other's post with the comment button here. And then these reactions will allow your students to do different items or different reactions on each other's post. So the like option will just allow students to like a post or unlike it. Voting allows students to give either a thumbs up or a thumbs down to each post. The star rating is just like what you see on Amazon, will allow students to give a 1 through 5 star on a post. And then the grade will actually give your students an opportunity to grade each post from 1 to 100. And what that will do is once multiple students have graded one post, it will actually average that grade and post it there. And you can see what all those those grades were as well. As we scroll down, you'll see there are a couple more options. Request approval if you want to um, approve each post that your student puts out, you can do that, and it will come through on your end, and then you can approve it before anyone else sees that post. And then obviously you'll want to turn on this filter profanity that will um, clean up any bad words that your students post. So those are our options, and we'll click next here. Um, this will, on this one, since we chose the shelf, it's looking for us to create some sections. So if we want to create some items here, maybe this is liquids, and we want to students to classify items that are your liquids or solids. We can create those too. You, as the creator of the Padlet, are the only one that's allowed to add sections in this particular style. So your students can only click on these plus buttons underneath and create items that go along with them. So say we're adding water along the top here. I can post this, or your students would be able to post this as well. Once you've gotten your Padlet made the way you want and you're ready for your students to start working on it, you'll go up here to the share button, and there are a few options here. You can invite members. So if your students have a login, you can send them an email and they can log in that way. But you can also just copy a link to your clipboard and post it in Google Classroom, or use a QR code as well. Up here under privacy, there are some options that you'll probably want to look at there. So we'll click into that. Um, you will probably want to leave it on secret. That allows only people that have the link to be able to get into the Padlet. That's probably the best way to do it. But also down here, you'll notice that there's this option called logged in visitors only. If you click that, that will require your students to create a free Padlet account and tie their name to that account so that when you see their name posted over here on their post, if you don't click that toggle over, then it will just post as an anonymous viewer if they're not logged in. So you'll want to flip that over so that your students are required to log in. You can see who posts what. And then of course you can change the visitor permissions here, very similar to working with a Google Classroom or a Google Doc. You can have students just be able to read it. They can write. If you flip over to this can edit, that will allow them to um, add sections and such, some of the tools that you have as well. Okay, so that's our Padlet. We're going to look at one more thing here, and I'm actually going to get out of this Padlet and go back to the dashboard. And you'll notice I'm on the free level of Padlet. So I'm only allowed to have 3 active Padlets at a time. So what that means is I'm only allowed to have 3 Padlets here. If I went up here to create a new Padlet, it would ask me to upgrade to the subscription so that I can add more. But Padlet does allow you to archive Padlets, as many of those as you want. So if I wanted to create a new Padlet, but I didn't want to get rid of any of these 3, I can click the 3 dots here and archive that. And what that will do is make it so that nobody can post to the Padlet anymore and nobody else will be able to see the Padlet, but it will still remain in your archived folder here. So if we click archive, we'll be able to make a new Padlet and create a new one there. But then if at any point you want to go back to that Padlet and pull it back up, or maybe you want to go and reuse it for next year, you can go into your archive section, and there's no limit on these, on how many archived Padlets you have. And you can actually unarchive and bring that Padlet back out. So if we click unarchive, that link again will work for students and they'll be able to post and see it as they were before. So that's Padlet. I hope that it's helpful to you. I hope that you have great uses for it, and I hope you have a great day.